Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Remember, subscribe is the vibe. Your boys on the road to 5K humbly. The like button is liked, the subscribe button is earned. But yo, every single time you think back to the legacy of Michael Jordan in his prime, you think of the teams that he went up against. His adversaries, allies, his enemies. You know what I mean? Well, enemies, adversaries, kind of thing. Besides the point, we know some of the obstacles he had to overcome, including the bad boy Pistons. And every single time you hear 90s basketball, you hear about the bad boy Pistons, you hear about this thing called the Jordan rule. My nigga, I don't know what the hell the Jordan rule is. You know what I mean? There ain't no Lebron rule. You know what I mean? What's the Jordan rule? Apparently, it was a defensive scheme that the Detroit Pistons came up to stopping Michael Jordan. I'm talking about a prime Michael Jordan. Now, did they stop him? I don't know. I don't remember. So I guess we're going to see what the Jordan rule was and whether or not Detroit implemented this rule in stopping MJ. So we're going to get right into it, man. What is this Jordan rule?
Interpretation of the Jordan rules are this. There are 3 areas on the floor the Pistons need to be concerned about. He's sensational when he dribbles to his right. He's only great when he goes left. They will force him left as much as possible from the top of the circle area.
Force Mike to his left. Got it.
I was covering the team at the
Mike
time.
wasn't a lefty. He
My
couldn't
eyes
finish
were
with his
telling
left.
me. Some Jordan rules going on here. So let me go write a story about this. Now let's get this. What are you talking about? There's no Jordan rules. We just play him tough, physical, like anybody else.
When Michael Jordan has the ball on the foul line extended or wing area, he is so good, too good at going to the baseline, coming back up under the basket, getting fouls on the big people. So instead, the Pistons will force him to come to the middle of the floor off the dribble, trying to get help from the next defender.
You'd say, what about the Jordan rules? And they say, what Jordan rules? And they'd say, what about this defense you're playing on? We're not playing anything special. And they all laughed and they'd wink and then they'd move on.
They also need to be concerned about
media. Y'all don't need to know what's going on in here.
And when Michael's doing
y'all don't need to know what's going on in here. We got something.
They'll run the next guy at him to double team him no matter who it is. But keep this in mind, Mark. They don't always use the Jordan rules.
Oh, they didn't.
And just for kickers, you know how Scotty walking around talking about he was better than Mike and how Mike needed him more than he needed Mike or whatever. Whatever he's spewing nowadays, because, you know, Mike's son sleeping with his... I ain't never heard about no pimping rule. I'll say that. We could start off with that. I ain't never heard nobody say, yo, you heard about the pimping rule? Sorry, Scotty. I just wanted to throw that in.
Preach it. They didn't brag about it, but it was on display.
Jordan to the foul line, room in the lane. Isaiah grabs him and fouls him.
The Jordan rules were for the Pistons to know about, not for anybody else to know about.
The Jordan rules.
I like that.
Is that something you guys made up?
Jordan rules were, you know, to stop him, period, because nobody else could beat you on that ball club.
Sheesh.
I don't know. You have to ask my man Matt Dobick on that one if it was any Jordan rules. And him and Chuck Daly not around, so I don't think it was any Jordan rules.
Look at that, man. Like, damn near 20 years later, they still capping. Yo, you gotta love the brotherhood. Yo, to this day, we don't know what y'all talking about. Huh?
Isolation play for Jordan. And Isaiah Thomas ties him up.
Give me that. Gritty, just get the ball out his hands. Oh, this is intense. Hold on.
How high can this man fly? Michael Jordan is soaring, and the Chicago Bulls are going right with him. Jordan is averaging 38 points a game in the first 2 playoff rounds. But now, Superman...
How much he averaging?
A game in the first 2 playoff. Bulls are going right with him. Jordan is averaging 38 points a game in the first 2 playoff rounds.
38 points a game?
Superman faces his toughest test. Game 1 will tell if Detroit's road has been too easy, while the Bulls come off the biggest win in the history of their franchise.
This is early Chicago Bulls. Bulls coming off the biggest win in franchise history? What year is this?
You know, the whole Pistons Jordan rules thing was frustrating as a beat writer because I was covering the team at the time. And I would always get this. What are you talking about? There's no Jordan rules. We just play him tough, physical, like anybody else. So I'm like, all right, cool.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. I'm Brent Musburger along with Bill Raftery. Let's get right to it. The man was an ex-coach. How do you stop Michael Jordan?
There's not much you can do with him. You have to make him go east to west in the fast break. He's good on the perimeter, but he's great when he penetrates.
At certain times, teams found themselves watching and in awe of him and maybe bashful about being physical with him.
I was in the Detroit Pistons locker room before the game, and it's very obvious they would like to wind this thing up tonight. And while I was down there, Chuck Daly unveiled his final instructions for the players, and I wrote them down for you.
Chuck Daly devised it, and his coaches, and it probably is one of the great things that made Chuck Daly the great coach that he was in everyone's eyes.
7th game intensity, he said. Let's play like this is the 7th game. Control the boards, energy. Nothing new for the bad boys. He says intimidate and dominate. And then on the bottom in big capital letters it says follow the Jordan rules. And I said, what are the Jordan rules? They said simply, when he goes to the bathroom, we all go with him.
Jeez.
There were no secrets. I mean, everybody knew what the rules were, and that was to put him on the floor when he came to the basket and try to keep him from the crowd-pleasing super fan.
That's the play, because like you keep a superstar from getting to the paint or getting to the rim, because if you're on the road, that's what gets the crowd hype. And when the crowd is hype, you get a bit disoriented. The team feeds off that energy. So you know what? No dunks, no layups, assassination on sight. I get it.
Fantastic flamboyant plays that he was capable of making.
Michael Jordan, who has done miracle things on the court, trying to carry his team on his shoulders against a great defensive team, maybe one of the greatest defensive teams in recent years in the NBA. Jordan has had his marvelous moments, but lately he has been stymied by the Detroit Pistons.
They had figured out how to contain Michael Jordan. They had finally figured out to some degree how to contain Michael Jordan.
MJ lovers don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. Y'all don't want to hear that.
There is Michael Jordan and Bill Cartwright. The Pistons are in blue, the Bulls are in white. Chicago's ball with
the young Bulls too. This is before Scotty, before Dennis.
Let's see the movement now. They try to go
This is Mike by himself, right? With just a couple of guys.
Here's Grant. Lane Beer made him change his shot. Here comes Isaiah Thomas chugging up court.
So what you had to do is you really had to look.
I don't know who Grant is, but I don't want to watch another jump shot as long as I'm watching this clip. Like, he ain't allowed to shoot while I'm reacting to this, because, nigga.
Look at the games. And the Jordan rules were pretty simple. And there was a couple versions of them. But one, Joe Dumars would guard Michael Jordan. And he would sometimes be doubled by Dennis Rodman. Or Joe Dumars would try to funnel him left into John Sally or to James Edwards or whatever big guy was there. And the idea, the concept was to get Jordan to pass out or to take difficult shots.
Jordan, good pick from Pippen on the pick and roll.
Oh, Pippen was there. Oh, okay.
Edwards, chased down by Rodman.
Down
I didn't notice him in the
Jordan coming around a screen, gets him into the paint. Lambeer to help out. And great Detroit defense.
Michael Jordan. Jordan, short with the shot.
The second part of the Jordan rules is that, you send Joe Dumars somewhere else, all of a sudden, you got 6'7", 6'8" Dennis Rodman on you. And Dennis Rodman was a physical player. He would be hitting Jordan, hitting him, moving his feet. And Jordan didn't like that.
And your call, Rodman now on Michael Jordan.
Bruh.
And he steps right inside him. Missed the first shot against Rodman.
With Michael Jordan as the point guard, you can't help out as much with traps. That's the problem.
Damn.
Coming inside, offensive foul is the call.
Clamps.
You had Joe Dumars, who probably, was more compact and just stand in your face and guarding you in front of you somewhere. And now you have Dennis Rodman, who's trying to get inside of your head.
Yeah.
So you got two different looks.
Talk that talk.
When Jordan got accustomed to Rodman, here comes Joe again, and now you have the other Jordan rules where you kind of funnel him into traffic.
The Detroit Pistons have so many things to think about. I made a list for you. Defense, rebounds, Jordan.
Another part of the Jordan rules was very, very simple. Get the ball to whoever Michael was guarding. Make him work on the other end. If he had to guard Joe, get shots for Joe. If he had to guard Isaiah, God help him.
He said, God help him.
1 second, Isaiah at the buzzer.
The other thing about the Jordan rules is you had to be physical with him. If Jordan got loose, he was going to get hit, and he knew it.
Jordan left wing. Jordan to the foul line. Room
Damn.
in the lane. Isaiah
Don't go up.
The only way you were going to slow him down,
Looked like he got punched in the chest,
what
too.
he was doing, coming inside and jumping in the air was to at least give him the thought that he could get hurt.
The thing about Jordan, which made him great, is he was able to take the pain, take the physical play, and still play his game. But it was a lot easier for Jordan to do this against other teams than it was for the Pistons.
You want to talk about building a wall?
We're going to do the Jordan rules too, but they didn't have the defensive players to pull it off like the Pistons did.
And so the Pistons in that way were able to at least get in his mind and cause him to think about, oh boy, where's Lambeer? You know, where's Mahorn? You know, where's Edwards? You know, where's Rodman? He could get hurt, he could get bumped, he could get knocked down at any time.
Rodman. Sheesh.
Good afternoon again, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton. We've had a day to think about this, and so is Chuck Daly. After Michael Jordan's 47 points, he decided he was going to go to the team, ask them, how should we defend Michael Jordan? The word is there was silence for a while, but then they came up with an idea. And the question, as I asked Hubie Brown, is how do you anticipate the Pistons playing
90s basketball shorts, bro. MJ's the only one that pulled it off, bro. I ain't go front. Everybody else looked like they were wearing like some poom poom joints. MJ at least had the little leg warmers underneath the shorts. I mean, I don't know what everybody else was doing. Everybody else was kind of like sauceless. Wide open. MJ left his man. Damn. You see why?
Good pick from Kippen on the pick and roll.
Damn.
And then a good defensive effort from
James my Edwards. Goodness.
I mean, he's going to score on you no matter what kind of defense you put on him, because that's the kind of player he was. We just wanted to slow him down and try to double team him a lot and make other people
look like y'all did
beat us, opposed to letting Michael Jordan beat us.
And the Bulls wanted to get the ball to Jordan on the post. He was forced to come outside and get it.
Kicked out. And time has been called.
He would not pass the ball on time. He would exhaust every option in order to score himself first. And we knew that going in, so just shut him down and you got the game won.
Jordan comes to the baseline. Dumars stays.
Look at the perimeter defense by four.
Into the lane.
Four's in his face.
Dumars out. Here's Thomas. Paxson's back. Thomas into him. Off the glass.
You play teams because if they got a superstar, if you can negate them and let somebody else beat you, that'd be great. If we felt that Bill Cartwright needed to score 40, then Bill Cartwright can score 40.
Cartwright. No call. Blocked by Isaiah Thomas. Here's Dumars.
He wouldn't give up. That's what I would say about Michael Jordan. He would not give up.
Isolation play for Jordan.
Nah.
And Isaiah Thomas ties him up.
All four guys are on MJ going to the paint.
Now pointing totally at Michael Jordan. They don't believe that any of the other four Bulls can hurt them at this point with this much time left.
And that'd be the weakest part of your team, man. Every single time, like we talk about great players, Kobe throughout his illustrious career when he had that stint, like that 8-year stint when he was playing with bums. LeBron James' first final appearance when he carried the Cavaliers and went up against a Spurs team that was just filled with Hall of Famers. You can't win with bums. It just is what it is. And it's like, no disrespect to the guys that made it to the NBA, but, you know, there are levels to this shit, bro. You know, like, congratulations, you made it to the NBA. You're not good enough to be here, but, hey, you're here. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like, teams know who the best player is. 4 guys in the paint? When MJ is driving it, 4 guys. Like, what is everybody else doing? Just standing there being a liability.
If they didn't have the mental part or that, you know,
where's Scotty?
To believe it's the end. They
Let's go a little headlock, you know what I mean?
They would have lost the game.
Give him that love right back. Give him that love right back.
They were just real bullheaded and stubborn and resolute about things. And that's why they won that series, despite I thought Jordan had an excellent series then also.
Hey!
No. There's the answer.
And we'll see here.
Thank you. Lambeer out. Thomas out.
Well, the Pistons have moved on, but you really got to feel for this man right here.
Well, Phil Jackson said yes, this will be considered a successful season for the Bulls. They went 1 game farther. For the Pistons, nothing but another world championship will do. And they, the Detroit Pistons, will meet the Portland Trail Blazers in the best of 7.
Hold on.
Detroit Pistons.
MJ actually shook Isaiah Thomas's hand after losing a playoff series, but when Isaiah lost to MJ, he didn't shake his hand. And I seen the photo too. That's crazy. Oh, okay. Okay.
We'll meet the Portland Trailblazers in the best of 7.
That's crazy.
Beginning Tuesday night on
That's why MJ violated him on the Dream Team.
Those years that we beat those guys, I mean, he took a lot of abuse from us.
Didn't matter if it was Michael Jordan or if it was Craig Elo. I'd hit them all. It don't matter because you're the opposition. You're not my teammate.
Everybody getting work.
I mean, they were our rules, and that's the rules the Detroit Pistons went by, how we're going to play Michael Jordan. And, you know, we kind of played it up a little bit, but that's just the way it was back then.
Until he learned how to involve his other players, he couldn't win, especially against us. Once he started learning that and gave up some control over his ball club to a degree, that's when they started winning. And we got old, that was part of it. But still, you got to give him credit for recognizing that he couldn't do it himself.
Respect.
When Jordan hit that big shot over Dennis Rodman, you kind of started thinking, okay, maybe this is the end.
And then he finally figured out, you know, he had to get a lot stronger, get his teammates more involved to beat us. And, you know, by that 4th year, we played them again, and, you know, they finally figured out how to beat us. They swept us.
I don't know why it didn't hold. I think guys just got older. They had different players in. It wasn't quite the group that really held him down before.
It'd be like that.
Every team has their little window of opportunity. We had ours. Could we have won that next year? Tough. They had the home court advantage, and we were getting older. There's no question about that. And you lose a little bit of mental edge at that point. You know, they were hungrier than we were, and Jordan was changing his game, involving his teammates a little bit more. Pippen was growing up. It became their time.
The league decided.
You heard that Pimpin was grown up.
Clean up the game, get rid of some of the physical contact, clear out the lanes so that the great players, the great athletes could drive to the basket. That was geared more to help Michael Jordan and the Bulls, and it was certainly the kind of legislation that did not help the Detroit Pistons.
Maybe because the way he was treated in the league, but he's carrying, you know, it's about who would you come see? Would you come see Rick Mahorn or would you come see Michael Jordan? He can fill the seats up.
So those were the rules. There were no secret about the rules. I mean, it was very obvious and very vivid for everybody who was watching. It was just that the Pistons were one of the teams that were willing to do it, where others may have backed away from it.
Jordan is fouled going strong. Foul was on Edwards. That's 4 on James Edwards. And there's Mark Aguirre. Played his...
You know what? Like the Jordan rule, the Detroit Pistons and the Jordan rule is a part of NBA history. And honestly, when I look back and I say like, yo, you watch some of the stars play, I've never heard of no Kobe rule. I mean, never heard no Shaq rule, no LeBron rule, no Dwayne Wade rule. Like, you never heard some of the other greats go through that kind of defense, right? But honestly, I think this rule pays more homage to Michael Jordan and the kind of athlete he was in the 90s, where a team literally had to devise all 5 players to key in on one guy. Key in on one guy. You know, and this was, what, over a span of 3-4 years. Jordan rule. What's the Jordan rule? Nobody knows but the Detroit Pistons. It's knock this guy out the sky. Stop him from doing what he typically does, or we're not winning. It's respect at the end of the day. That's my takeaway. The Pistons respected Michael Jordan so much that they had to come up with a rule and a mindset to deal with one person. Sorry, Scotty, you're not that guy. You're not that guy. But nonetheless, very informative and very interesting. I appreciate you guys. If you made it to the end, hit the like and subscribe button and hit the post notifications for more content, because your boy's consistent, man. Appreciate you guys as you guys come along with me as we travel back through time and see how the NBA really used to be. I'm going to holla at you guys. Bye-bye.